Hello everyone, my name is Joe, welcome to Genius Joe. Today guys, we'll be discussing, today I'm going to be talking about a recent spec ad that I just shot for Adidas. I think one big dream of mine is to work for these big brands someday, like work for Adidas, work for Nike, New Balance, Reebok, all that type of stuff, right? So if I want to get to that point, I know that I need to create work that will potentially attract them. So in this video, I'm going to be giving a full breakdown on the shoot and how I achieved these results. Okay, so first let's discuss the pre-production phase of the shoot, because without a pre-production phase, there is no good photo shoot. So this is extremely important. This is where I had to get my brain working a little bit, right? Every time I'm thinking of a new creative photo shoot concept, I'm always thinking of a big client in mind, like a dream client that I want to work for someday, like I said in the intro, in mind. So I thought, right, what better way to do that than to create a spec ad for Adidas? And if you don't know what a spec ad is, spec is just short for speculative, which basically just means a fake advert. You know what I mean? It's not real. It's basically you're doing it to show to people what you could create if you were hired by that specific brand. So here in this case in Adidas, I'm showing to Adidas and other people that this is what I could create if you hired me, or if Adidas hired me, and obviously on a budget, of course. I actually already made a full video on why you should do spec ads and just breaking down the spec ad process, which I'll put it up here. You can check it out after this video. But the great thing about spec ads is that you're showing to these brands, like I said, you're showing to the brands, you're showing to the people what you could create if you were hired by them on a budget. And you're essentially just it's essentially you're reaching out to them in a way. It's like you're almost calling their name, being like, yo, Adidas, look what I just did for your brand, like you should hire me. That's what you're basically doing, right? And this is obviously a great way to attract these types of clients. In rare cases, you may even get the specific brand that you made that ad for contacting you about a shoot someday. Like for me, for example, and back in September last year, 2024, I did a Doc Martin spec ad thing, right? And to be fair, the photos weren't even the best photos. They weren't even in my opinion, weren't actually that good. But I remember I sent them straight to Doc Martens at the Instagram account. I got their Instagram account, right? I literally DM'd them on Instagram being like, I sent them the photos. I was like, here's photos I just did for you guys. I did a spec ad. Let me know if you have any shoots coming up. I'd love to be a part of it. And they literally replied to me. They literally replied to me saying, oh, we love the photos. This is great. We'll definitely reach out to you next time we have a photo shoot that you'd be great for, and something like that. Did they reach out to me? No, but they didn't reach out to me, right? But you never know, right? But obviously, in my opinion, the photos weren't actually that good. But I feel this could definitely be a good opportunity to get some work here. You could shoot a spec ad for some brand, and you might as well shoot your shot. There's no harm in just messaging them on Instagram or emailing them, being like, "Oh, I just created this spec ad for you guys. Take a look." Just introducing yourself, even if you don't expect to get work out of it. Just showing, telling people that you exist, telling the brands that you exist. That's good enough in my opinion. So yeah, that's something that you could do, you know what I mean? But I always stress the importance of creating a portfolio that has dream clients in mind, and something that people can look at and be like, I want to hire you for that specific look, because you have to treat these collaborative and unpaid shoots as super intentional. And again, having a dream client in mind, thinking of the biggest brands, thinking even not in the biggest brands, thinking of people that you'd want to work for in the future, having a client in mind when you're creating this work is what's going to help you create a portfolio that clients will actually want to book you for. If you need to make a magnet, your portfolio needs to be a magnet for clients, basically. We need to stop creating these just off the whim, just on the weekend with your friend, taking photos of your friends, right, with no intention behind it. You're just having fun, right? If you're in the beginning stages of your career, of your photography career, or in your skill level, you don't really know how to use a camera, you don't really know the settings, you don't really know how lighting works. Fair enough, right? Go out there. I would definitely suggest you go out there, experiment. Find your style, learn about the camera, what settings is best for you, what lenses are best for you, all that type of stuff, right? But after those beginning stages, you need to make sure all of these photo shoots, these collaborative shoots, are super intentional. You need to stop going out there and just taking a couple of photos, random photos that they're cool looking, but people don't look at them, right, and go, oh, I want to hire you for that. If you want to create work that people will hire you for, there's a difference between creating work that people will hire you for and will get you booked, compared to work that people will just see and think it looks cool. You know what I mean? You need to create work that people want to book you for. If you want to make a living from this, create work like that. And it doesn't mean you can't be creative, because again, look at the photos I've taken for this shoot. They were super creative, right? But still had a specific client in mind, and that was Adidas or Nike or whatever. Maybe Nike would hire me now because I worked at Adidas. I'm like, fuck you, you work. No, joking. Obviously, they're gonna like, they could see that people, all these other like sports brands are going to look at these photos and be like, oh, this is what he could create if he was hired by like me, for example, right? So I want that, and I'm going to book him for that, stuff like that. You might think, right, like Nike and Adidas, like that's such like that's such like unreachable goals. That's like so far away. It's like I'm never going to get there. It's going to take me like 10 years. Like, guys, do not think like this. Think like right now, right? Think to yourself right now, what brands would you want to work for in the future? Is it Adidas, is it Nike, or is it more like high fashion, like Dior, Louis Vuitton, whatever it is, right? Look at the work that they're creating right now in their photos and start by implementing that into your own work. Like really make sure that even as a man, if you are like kind of new to this, right? Making sure that each photo shoot you do has that specific client in mind, because you're not gonna land these big clients someday if you don't create work that will attract them. You know what I mean? And you almost had this, you need this mindset shift of like, I'm gonna work for Nike in next year. Like if you think like that, if you think I'm gonna work for Nike next year, like you're gonna right now start by creating work that Nike would wanna see. So what is stopping you from doing that? Do that right now. Start by making work that brands like Nike or whatever you wanna see. And then you will get hired by these people in no time. And if it isn't those specific people, you're gonna get hired by brands similar to that. You know what I mean? That's the whole goal here. And yeah. Okay, so how did I think of this concept and how did I prepare for the shoot? That's the whole point, right? So all I knew was that I wanted to do a spec ad for Adidas, and I knew I wanted it to be like colourful, quite like punchy colour palette, very saturated. So I knew I wanted that. The first thing that I like to do is create a series of mood boards of different aspects of the photo shoot. So this is essentially going to be a treatment for the entire photo shoot, which gives a good overview of what the concept is, what your intentions are, and how you execute it. One thing that I like to do sometimes is use ChatGPT. Like I use it sometimes as a way of helping me figure out what the theme should be of the photo shoot or what the photo shoot should look like. Okay, so I'm in ChatGPT right now, right? This is the prompt I gave them when I was thinking of the concept. So I said, I'm planning on shooting an Adidas editorial. The theme is impactful, action-packed, colourful, and youthful, blah, blah, blah. And so I did say here, I'm planning on pitching it to brands to persuade them to fund the shoot. But I changed my mind with that. I didn't really think, at the start I was like, I want to get it funded, it'd be really cool, but I actually realized like it wouldn't be that expensive to do. It wouldn't even cost that much. I'd have to buy the tracksuit and the shoes, the outfit, but like that's all I have to do. Like it's like I might as well just do that myself rather than trying to wait for emails back and getting the funding and taking like months to get it done, right? So I was like, let's just like get it done by myself and get it done, because I wanted to get the shoot done for my portfolio. So yeah, so didn't pitch it to brands in the end, but whatever. So I asked what should the name be of the concept. So they gave me some options here, didn't really like any of them. I said, okay, blah, blah, blah. And then I came with, they said there's number 3, Vivid Edge. I thought that was cool. Vivid Edge, like I like that. I like that name, you know what I mean? So before I did that, I think I asked it to give me a brief description. So the reason why I asked it to give me a description is because I almost like to get like more contextualization with what my photo shoot is going to be about. And you don't obviously have to put that in your photo shoot, like your proposal, right? But one good thing about it is that if you have like a cool description of what, like an overview of like an overall description of what the concept is going to be, if you're struggling with like what lighting you should do, what poses you should do, what type of shots you should use, the equipment or anything like that, the color palette, whatever it is, the location, whatever it is, right? You can almost go back to that description that the AI actually gave you, and you can be like, okay, what location would fit this theme, or what poses should fit this theme, or even what type of model would fit this theme, and that gives you a good reference point, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I would definitely suggest you do that. And here I put, okay, I put the title, Vivid Edge, I like the idea, give me a brief description with that title. Okay, you gave me this description, I thought, okay, it's a bit too long, make it more casual. Didn't really change the length, but whatever, right? And it's like, okay, kind of gives you the shoot, so the visuals will be dynamic, powerful, and full of personality. So I knew then, I was like, okay, I know what model I'm going to use. I know the model, her name's Tay. She has like colourful hair. She's quite like flamboyant. She's quite like out there, you know what I mean? She's very like energetic, you know what I mean? She's a very energetic person. I thought like, yo, she would be perfect for this photo shoot. You know what I mean? She has the look for it, and I was like, yeah, she would be perfect for this photo shoot. So I picked her. And also, I guess like the urban vibe, and like again, like, if you're going back to the playful and the dynamic type of stuff, right? It's like, okay, from then I'm like, what type of poses should I do? I could do more like these more out there poses. You know what I mean? Have her like kicking her feet off, making her look more like, you know, energetic, look more youthful, again, going from the term youthful and everything like that. It's like having that description there, yeah, it's just a good reference point. And I was like, yeah, you cooked. You know, I mean, you did a good job. ChatGPT did a good job with the description there. I want to talk about proposals for a minute, guys, because this is something that I've been doing for the last couple of months now, and it's really changed my work for the better. So a proposal, like I just kind of said, it's like a series of mood boards, it's a treatment. And the reason why you want to create this, guys, is because you want to make sure all of your photo shoots are intentional and have some type of solidified concept. There's an idea behind it. It has this feeling of like professionalism behind it because it's extremely planned out, because that's how professionals plan out their photo shoots. They create these mood boards, they create these proposals for every photo shoot they do, even if it is for like a little photo shoot. Like I've not worked with, but I know photographers who've done like these little like just headshot shoots or personal branding shoots that are like going to be like an hour long, but like they're super planned out. They have like a styling. They talk about a styling mood board. They have a makeup mood board. They have like what type of shots they're gonna do. It's super specific, and because they do that, all of their work is amazing. And it's super solidified. You know what I mean? There's intention behind it. I've said that 6 times. I've said that 60 times, but you know what I mean, right? Like you also have to think, right? How do you source the models? How do you source a team for these photo shoots? Well, a good way of doing that is having these type of proposals with you, because you can't expect, like, if you're going to message a model on Instagram or a stylist or a makeup artist to work with you on a shoot for free, especially if you just say to them, "Oh, do you want to collab on a shoot someday?" They are not going to reply to that. They're not going to reply to that. It's going to be left on red, or they're just going to leave it in their inbox for eternity. You know what I mean? They're not going to see that. But if you message them being like, "Oh, I've got this really cool photo shoot concept I think you'd be perfect for," I'll send them the PDF or something like that, like, they are way more likely to be on board. You know what I mean? They're going to see that and go, "Oh, that concept's really cool. I want to work with you on this." And it also makes you look more professional. Again, go back to the professionalism part, right? It makes you look so much more professional if you send them like a 20-page PDF of like exactly what you want to get out of the shoot. Like, people look at that and be like, "Wow, this guy knows what he's talking about," or this girl, or whatever, this person knows what they're talking about. So it actually gives them a good reason to want to work with you, and you could really source anyone. If you have a good proposal, you could probably source any model, any stylist, any makeup artist possible for completely free for a photo shoot. So yeah, just saying, guys. But yeah, if you just message them saying, "Oh, do you want to collab someday?" there's no call to action there. There's no specific concept behind it, and there's just no good reason to do that photo shoot for free, especially because there's this unpredictability behind it. You don't want to be unpredictable when you're trying to work with someone. Like you don't want to have people guessing with what the photo shoot's going to be or anything like that, right? You want them to be intrigued. You want them to know exactly what you're intending to do. You can't just expect people to be on board to shoot with you guys. Like that's just like a terrible mindset to have, the think that like anyone should work with me. I should message anyone that just want to work with me. Like, no, it's just a pitch at the end of the day. Even if it is free, like even if they're not paying you or you're not paying them, you still need to convince them why they should do this photo shoot for free. Like, why should they do this photo shoot? Explain to them why it's not a waste of their time, basically. And a proposal is the perfect way to show to them that this is not a waste of time. So what should you include in this proposal or the presentation? Well, for this shoot, I included stuff like, I did the styling, I included the makeup, or not the makeup, the lighting, the set design, I did a shot list. I think that's all I did really. I had like a general mood board as well, just give like a good overview of the photo shoot. Depending on what type of concept you're doing, you could put more in there. Like for example, what other shoots I've done, I've added the makeup in there, I've added a location, I've added props, I've added maybe different types of poses I want to do. I've added a lot of different stuff in there, but you could be more specific or less specific. The more specific, the better. But if you feel like the other stuff isn't as important, you could be like, okay, I didn't really need to put the makeup in there, because I was like, okay, I know Tay's gonna do her own makeup. It's not gonna be like anything crazy. I don't need anything crazy. I was like, whatever, I just don't do the makeup, right? But for the other stuff like the styling and the set design, I put that in there because that's for me and also for her, that she kind of knows what's going on. But because I made this proposal, especially the shot list part of it, right, I could refer back to it in the photo shoot. So even like just before the photo shoot, to kind of remind myself of what I'm going for, you know what I mean? But especially on the shoot itself, like there's probably clips of me, right? I'm getting my phone out, I'm showing Tay, like I'm pointing out poses from the shot list that we should do next, and it's just a great way to save some time from having to keep thinking of different poses you want to do. So it just saves you from having to be like on the photo shoot being like, "Oh, what pose should I do next, or what should I do, what type of shot should I do next? Like, if you have a shot list, you have like a list of things, you know exactly what you want to get. So when you get to the photo shoot, you can kind of tunnel vision into it and be like, okay, I know what pose I'm going to do first. I know what shot I'm going to do next. Like, you know exactly what's going to happen, and it's like, you have some direction in your photo shoot, because the last thing you want to do, especially as a photographer, even on paid shoots, especially on paid shoots, you don't want to go into it kind of like freestyling it or a bit like confused of what you want to do, right? Because that shows unprofessionalism, and you don't look like you know what you're doing. And it also tells the model, if you don't know what you're doing, it almost tells the model like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing, and they're going to get a bit nervous, like, oh my god, is this photographer going to get good photos out of this? But if you're like there and you're like, okay, this pose, that pose, like, oh wow, like this person's got some good direction, like I'm quite confident in their ability to get good photos out of this, and that's what you want. You want a good reputation as a photographer, especially a fashion photographer, right? Because even on unpaid shoots, you want to withhold a good reputation as a photographer. Like, I've gotten paid work through free shoots. I've said that multiple times. I do these free shoots. I've got plenty of paid work through it, and I've had good like testimonials to say. You know what I mean? Like, I've had models tell other people, being like, "Oh yeah, this photographer's wonderful to work with. He's so nice. Like, he's really like he's good at photography. Not only is he actually good at taking photos, but he's actually like nice to be around too." You know what I mean? Having that reputation there is really good, because don't treat it as like, oh, it's a free shoot, so I don't give a shit. Because if you do that, you're creating a reputation that you're unprepared and you don't know what you're doing. Even if you do, you weren't prepared. So you need to start preparing for making sure you take every free shoot seriously, or every shoot in general seriously. And if you want to learn more about how to create the perfect mood board for your next photo shoot concept, and how to actually think of a photo shoot concept, guys, top link to the description below is my free online community, also known as Photo Genius Academy. This gives you access to a course which will tell you exactly how to create the perfect mood board, how to find a concept for your photo shoot, and how to actually prepare for your photo shoots. And guys, this knowledge, I wish I had this knowledge when I first started, because I would have made such faster progress if I had this knowledge when I first started. So yeah, guys, if you want to check that out, top link in the description below, we can check it out and join for free today. So in terms of equipment, I've been shooting a lot of film recently, so I was like, I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to shooting film for a bit longer. So I had my Mamiya RB67 alongside my Canon 650. So I don't usually shoot 35mm, but because I had like so many different shots in mind that I wanted to do, I wanted that leeway with 35mm with the 36 exposures. I get like more options to pick from, you know what I mean, compared to medium format that only has 10. And if you know me, you know that I love to shoot with these tighter focal lengths. Like, I love the compression and that more flat look in my photos compared to the wider, more distorted look. So what I had for the lenses, I had my 127mm on my Mamiya RB67, which is equivalent to about a 65mm on full frame, and for my Canon 650 I had my 24-70, mainly shooting at 65mm to 70mm. Obviously that's a personal preference. Like, I just love that more compressed look of tighter focal lengths. You may be the opposite. You may like the wider look, you may like the more distorted look, the 24mm, the 35mm, wherever it is, it doesn't really matter. But in my personal style, I like that more like cinematic look, that more impactful look, you know what I mean? So I think tighter focal lengths works best for that. Sometimes I may even crop in even more in Lightroom, just like even enhance that flat look, you know what I mean? But yeah, I shot on film, but obviously you could shoot digital to save the hassle and save some money. Yeah, save money, because Portra 400 is expensive. So yeah, save some money, shoot digital. But again, it's about personal preference really, because if you find that, if you haven't shot film yet, I definitely would recommend you maybe rent out a camera, try to shoot it, see what it's like. Because for me, I thought digital was fine. I thought digital was really good. I want to shoot film to see what it looks like, but digital for me is fine. But then as soon as I started shooting film, I realized like, oh my God, like film is like 10 times better for me personally. So I'm just like, I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to digital. Like, maybe at some point I will. Maybe if I just get better at color grading, you know what I mean? My digital ones look like film, but for now, I'm sticking to film. I'm sticking to film, guys. I'm not going back. Okay guys, now I'm going to break down the lighting in Satellite. Satellite is just like a 3D simulation that I like to use to like plan the lighting beforehand. It's a really great app. I definitely think you should get it. I'll probably link it below. So this was a pretty simple free light setup. So as my key light, I had a shadow octa, or whatever size this is. I had 120 centimeters. I don't know if it was actually that size, but probably that size, right? Looks pretty similar. Then I had two rim lights here. I had a beauty dish and then a reflector dish with a honeycomb grid on it, a 10-degree honeycomb grid on it here. And as an add-on, I had a poly board here. I don't know, in this one I've got like 4 poly boards, but on the actual day I had just the one, so let's get rid of these ones here. I just had this one here. Maybe I should have added this one to kind of like control the light a bit more, but I just had this one here. I knew I wanted to go for this more cinematic and dramatic look, so I made sure the light had a lot of contrast and shadow to it, while also having some harsh highlights on the side from the rim lights. And to make sure I got a lot of shadow, I always made sure that my light was more on an angle to the side of the model to make sure you get like these shadows on the model's face here, because if I had it more like here, then it's less shadow, you know what I mean? So like the more sidey the lighting gets, the more to the side the light gets, the more shadow there is. I didn't want like crazy split lighting like this, like really like kind of creepy and dramatic, but I wanted to go for something like more of an in-between, between that more dramatic and contrasty look and that more high-key beauty look, if that makes any sense. Because I'm going for something more youthful at the end of the day, so I don't want anything like super like horrifying or like kind of creepy like this or something like that, right? I want to go for something more, yeah, like something more youthful, something more impactful, but still have that cinematic and dramatic look to it. I would usually put a grid on my softboxes, my key lights, but I wanted light to kind of spill. I wanted the light to spill to onto the background, you know what I mean? Because if I had a grid on it here, you see that the background gets darker, because when I put a grid on it, the light spread is much less, basically, right? It's more of a narrow spread, if that makes any sense, when I put the grid on it. When I take it off, the light spreads throughout the entire room a bit more evenly, and for the most part, I don't really like to do that, but for this scenario, I want to do that because I don't want the background to kind of get lost in shadow here. If it's like that, it's a bit too dark, and obviously I wanted the red to pop in the photo just like the model, so I had to make sure that some of the light is still hitting the background. And it's also good too, because when I'm doing like full shots like this, for example, what's going on? When I do full shots like this, for example, it's like I can cover the entire body without having to have like a second light, a field light. Because if I had the grid on here, you can kind of see like everything just gets darker, but also like you can kind of see down here like the light kind of like falls off here. But when I take it off, there's a little bit more light on the shoes and the bottom of the feet. So I made sure to, like, obviously if I don't have the grid on it, I can kind of cover the entire outfit there. And the reason why I had 2 rim lights instead of just 1 rim light is because I want to cover the entire body. As you can kind of see here, this one kind of covers the top half, and then this one kind of covers the bottom half. You can see here, but I can probably bring it low down. I think in real life I had it like more like there, and then this one I had it just more like on the top. As more of a subtle one. I think in real life, I don't think I had much brighter than this in real life, but yeah. But this is like what I was going for, because I think the one would have just covered the one half. Obviously I wanted to cover the whole body, so that's why I had 2 there. But that's really it for the setup, guys. It's very simple. It's a setup that you can definitely try at a studio that you hire out or something like that. Again, I don't own any of this gear. I own the reflector dish with the honeycomb grid, but like that is it. That's the only thing I owned. Everything else was just like from the studio that I hired out. 3-hour booking, that's like £75. Sometimes it'd be less than that, more, whatever it is. But whatever studio you hire out, it's going to have something. They're going to have the exact same gear, so you could probably recreate this look if you wanted to with the backdrop and everything like that. But yeah, if we're going to talk about the grade a little bit here, I always love to slightly underexpose portrait, because like I said, I shot film, so if I want to get that more contrasty look from not just the lighting but also through the grade, if I slightly underexpose portrait by like half a stop, not even like a crazy amount, like half a stop and maybe a maximum of a stop, because you kind of underexpose it, it increases the contrast and the saturation of the image. With 35mm, I didn't really, 35mm I exposed it properly for the most part because there's less leeway there, but for medium format, because there's so much leeway with like the exposure and everything like that, the look of it, I slightly underexpose it to again like get that contrast, get that saturation back into the image. So for this shoot, unfortunately, I didn't have access to a light meter, so I literally had to use my digital camera. I brought my digital camera with me and I was like, okay, take some photos on there to kind of gauge the exposure a little bit. And yeah, for the most part, most of them were exposed correctly or like slightly underexposed, which is like perfect, right? There are some shots where are kind of overexposed and they kind of look kind of weird, but for the most part, most of them were exposed the correct way. Because of film, you can underexpose it without really affecting the brightness on the image, unlike digital. If you underexpose on digital, it affects the brightness, it's kind of dark, but on film, it doesn't really affect the brightness of the image. It more just affects the contrast and the saturation and that type of stuff, right? And even if it does affect the brightness, you just up it in post, and it doesn't really add any grain or any noise to the image at all, because again, like, you're playing with like 60 megabyte files, right, per image, so you have so much leeway there from the scans, so you don't have to worry about like having to like add exposure and adds more noise or anything like that. It doesn't really do that, because I'm not really a big fan of overexposing portrait, because I know you might see like landscape photographers and street photographers who shoot film, and they always say like overexpose by like a stop just in case and stuff like that, right? Which is fine for the most part in those situations, but I've noticed for like fashion shoots like this, you don't really want to overexpose, unless you want to, but if you overexpose portrait, even if it's by like a 2 stops, 1 stop, you get this really like pastel and really like desaturated, very flat type of look, which is something that you may like. But for me, again, especially for this shoot too, I'm going for this more like high contrast, cinematic, like saturated type of look, like punchy colors, that type of look, right? So knowing what your film can do at certain exposure levels, or what it looks like at certain exposure levels, is very important if you are going to shoot film in the future. Don't think like, I'll just overexpose it, because there are some shots I did overexpose it a little bit, and you just can't bring back the contrast and the colors. Like, you just can't. It's like impossible for some reason in post, unless like I'm just not good at grading or something, right? But for the most part, you can't really like retain like, or like, what's the word, like, you can't really get back that saturation and that contrast. You're kind of stuck with that more pastel look. But if you do expose it correctly, then you can get the look that you want. Overall, right, I'm extremely happy with the results. Like, I love the punchy colors that you get from the reds and the greens and the yellows. It's amazing. I've been doing that recently with my work. My next photo shoot that I'm going to do is going to have a similar vibe to it, so I might be sticking to that. I'm not sure yet, because I do like that more like the neutral tones of like the black background or the black and white look and stuff like that, right? So it really is. I think my style is more like, I like that more, there's just punchy colors in general, that more saturated look in general, even if it is like a black and white image, or like if it's like black background but it's just neutral tones like tungsten and something like that. Like, I still love that like really punchy, like orangey or blue colors that I like. So, but yeah, I don't know, let's just see where my portfolio goes in the next couple of months, right? But yeah, let me know, guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the photos. You like them? Do you think they're shit? Whatever, let me know in the comments below. But I'm definitely going to be sticking to film from now on though, guys, because I'm loving the look of film recently. My last like 6 photo shoots have been on film, like medium format film, 35mm film. I'm just loving the look. Like, I don't really like digital anymore. I found that, like, I don't know what's something about digital. I remember I need to get better at grading or something like that, right, to make it look like film. But for the most part, I just love the film look, and I just love the process of it too. So yeah, I'm definitely stick to that from now on. So I don't think I'm going back to digital for a while now. Also, just watch out for future photo shoots like this. I've got more photo shoots coming up. I've got like a sports, I got like another sports editorial coming up in the next coming weeks. So subscribe for that, of course. Also, guys, like I said earlier on in the video, don't forget to check out the top link in the description below, which is my free online community, Photo Genius Academy. That will give you all the training that you need to create the perfect photo shoot concept, have the perfect pre-production phase like I did for this shoot, tell you what I like to do to just prepare for my photo shoots, and how I create work that will land me clients. So guys, check the top link below where you can join for free today. And also, don't forget to check out the second link below if you want more personal training, which is my paid online community, Photo Genius University. That's as if like you want me to join you on your journey personally to your success as a portrait/fashion photographer. And I am planning on increasing the prices very soon, so don't forget to join today to secure the current price. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys found this useful. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, of course, and yeah, click on any of these videos here to learn more about portrait photography. And I'll see you next time, guys. Goodbye.